T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is John Ward, welcoming you to another presentation of Tennessee football on home video. The story you're about to see unfold is one of adventure and achievement. It's the story of teamwork, commitment, and the will to win.
Doesn't need a lot of... Oh! He took a weapon!
Welcome back, y'all. It's game day Saturday versus a hated rival, those Georgia Bulldogs. Man, P and I, y'all already know how we feel about it. Growing up in the state of Georgia as Tennessee fans, diehard Tennessee fans, having to deal with all the talk, man. It doesn't matter if they're good. It doesn't matter if they're bad. They're always going to talk pretty much the same way. Now, they have gotten more cocky with it since they got Kirby Smart, who got beat down by our Vols whenever he was a player, playing at safety back in the 90s. We was on a, 9-game winning streak. Georgia's trying to tie that today in Neyland. We might not see him again for who knows when. Might be several years. But I think that Tennessee ends the streak today. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all that straight out the gate. Okay, this is for Vol fans only, baby. I feel great about this matchup. Since last year, we've had a bad taste in our mouths. A lot of players on our team from the state of Georgia that want to prove a point. We will prove a point over the whole week. We've kept y'all up to date with any type of breakdown possible. So offense, defense, talked a little bit about special teams, didn't break that down too much. But the whole point here is, y'all, we have the answers this year. I think that we have the team that can get it done. We're going to try to touch on everything. He's going to be joining us a little bit late. I mean, we've been ripping and running for like the past couple of days, so he will be joining us. Y'all just stay tuned. And also, please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. Thank y'all so much for joining us and getting us to 10,000 subs on this channel. So first and foremost, I'm going to actually, you know what? I'll tell you what I have to do really quickly just because we're starting this one later than what we normally do. So let me start off right here with the first pick of the day, okay? And then we're going to go on ahead and get into this actual breakdown. So this is Clemson at Georgia Tech. Clemson ranked number 12, and the game started at noon. All right, we already know that it's played at Georgia Tech. Clemson favored by 3.5. The over-under is 51.5. And P, who's not with us, his pick was Clemson. It's not looking good for him right now. But my pick was Georgia Tech. And I have to shout out to my dog, Jordan Allen, you know, who played at Buford High School. He's a really good wide receiver. He's just a freshman right now, but y'all would know his name. So, of course, I'm cheering for them. And actually, shout out to my nephew, Bray, who's at that game right now as a visitor. So, with all that being said, let's go on ahead and jump into some of the, some of the big-time things for this game. So, number one, man, we have a lot of good visitors coming up. This is the 2026 visitors. Something that just came out here recently is that Dre Quinn, 4-star edge rusher who also plays at Buford High School, he's up there right now. He's currently committed to Clemson. I think Dabo has this rule that, once you choose their school, you can't go visit anybody else. Is this a sign that he might be trying to flip to us? I'm not sure. I have talked to him previously, and I don't know exactly where he's at recently, but I will find out, and I'll let y'all know maybe at some point next week. But really good looking list of visitors. We also have Andrew Rogers, who will be up today as well, 4-star edge rusher, and he's teammates with Faison Brandon. I think that we could flip him. Is it a case where, hey, man, first come, first serve? I don't know, but Tennessee's in a great spot from that standpoint. Now, moving on to 2027, there's a lot of guys coming up, y'all. We got the number one player in the whole country at offensive tackle coming up. He's from Texas. I think we might have, I don't know, it's like 15 or 17 5-stars coming up. So like half of the 5-stars in the 2027 class should be on campus today. We're going to have a huge showing. We already know, College game day being there. Neyland's going to be rocking. Our fan base is the best in the world. There's no question. There's absolutely no question. We broke the decibel record last time Georgia came up here. I think we're going to break that record, okay? So I think it was set like 140 point whatever, 140.5 or 0.8. We're going to break that today, okay? That's my first, bold take. We are going to break that, and the crowd will play a major factor in this game. Tennessee wins this. It's kind of like, back in 2022, whenever we beat Alabama. That's when Tennessee started to kind of turn that corner, right, of being able to bring up more blue chip caliber players. It's just going to keep on getting better, y'all. So Proud of all those things. And then this is just 2028. Obviously, there's some really like big name players coming up from that class, couple years away. But I think that class is going to be really, really strong. We'll have to keep a close eye out on these guys. Would not be shocked, okay, if some people are feeling very strongly about Tennessee that are visiting us coming out of this visit. Now, let me go on ahead and get to some of these chats real quick, all right? We're going to start off right here with my dog, Matt says, saying, go Vols, baby. You already know, big day for us. GBO, go Vols. And actually, let me check on this poll real quick. So the poll right now is at 91% saying that Tennessee is going to win this game and only 9% saying Georgia. So those are probably Georgia fans, not quite sure on that. But let's keep it rolling with these chats. So next from Sid, yo, what's going on, bro? T. Smith saying game day was awesome. Okay, so T. Smith, I guess that you was at that. That's great. From Sid, we are going to win right here. Go Big Orange. Mike is saying that the streak ends today. I feel you on that. You already know, bro. You already know. That's from Will Holder. And this one is saying that Alabama still doesn't look great. Haven't even had a chance to really watch some of the Clemson game. But this just been a grind, y'all. We are grinding, trying to make sure that we can stay on top of everything. So right here, man, we have a super chat from my dog, Will Holder. Thank you so much for that, saying go Big Orange. And I don't think that there's any better phrase, man. I love hearing it. So we are going to play that clip for you. But thank y'all so much for all, tuning in. And yes, we do take the super chats. They're definitely welcome. Thanks a lot, Will. So let me get to some more crazy visit list 100%. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into some more things, man. Let's talk about this matchup. So whenever you're looking at this matchup on paper, yeah, I mean, Georgia is the more talented team, but they have been for such a long time. It's not like the 90s where Tennessee was the more talented team and we won all those games. And it's actually very similar because I think that Coach Fulmer, I love him as a coach, but as like from an X's and O's standpoint, probably wasn't super great. Not to say that Kirby's smart. I mean, I think he's good with the X's and O's with his defense, but they pretty much just want to beat you with their talent. It's not like mind-blowing stuff. Like you're not looking at it and saying, wow, how'd they think of this? That's not the case. There's a lot of people that were saying that previously. And I think people are starting to realize, well, they're kind of like mortals, like they're losing to these teams with less talent every single year now. And last year, 3 games or something that they lost? Every single one of those teams was less talented than they are, even Alabama. So this year, I feel very confident, just from the standpoint of we've closed that talent gap significantly. And I think that we have the answers, which we will get to here in just a minute. And, of course, once P comes in, we're going to talk about more things. But this is how things break down with Tennessee's offense versus Georgia's defense. Y'all can see what the stats are at this point in the year. And Tennessee's winning in pretty much every single category except for one, which is rushing, which is crazy. But it doesn't mean that Tennessee, these stats almost don't mean too much of anything. My only thing is that looking at them, you think, well, okay, who has Tennessee played? Who has Georgia played? Well, you can see the strength of schedule on top of both of these. So Tennessee has a stronger strength of schedule. We played Syracuse, who at least has a post. Marshall doesn't have a post. Austin Peay doesn't have a post. Actually, I think that ETSU would probably beat Marshall and Austin Peay, and the same thing for Syracuse. So we played up against better competition, but we will see more wrinkles coming from Georgia for sure. Today, they're going to blitz more. They're going to dial things up more. Why they would hide it, I don't know. We talked about it all week long. We know what you do, because you've done the same stuff every single year. Why are you doing these things? To me, it's just foolishness. But Tennessee's been hiding some stuff too. We haven't shown everything. But this is the first part of what I really want to break down. It might be one of the biggest parts, y'all, is that I've tried my best to let people know the difference in our scheme this year versus last year. We've talked about it since last year. We were very vocal about the issues that we had within our, especially passing game. There was some in our running game too, but man, with the passing game, everything is just so vertical. It's literally like, I guess maybe in more like layman's terms, you could think of it like, man, Tennessee's really only running like 3 different passing plays. That's pretty much what it was. And teams would play one set defense. It would force Tennessee to do something on offense, which is pretty much take the underneath stuff. You have to hold up for a long time to find things down the field. The operation part of it was really difficult, but now we've added pistol. Now we've added more, like full field reads. Sometimes it's still mostly going to be half field reads. We've added a lot of things. The underneath game, it's a lot better. Just something that I'll point out. Tennessee would barely ever run slants. Pretty much never ran drags. Barely ran posts. That's a huge part of this offensive system now. We're pretty much just running straight go verticals, okay, post sometimes, and then just like hitches or like deep comebacks. Barely any outs, So we've added all those things, and we use it on a much more consistent basis with a much better offensive line that I trust. The running game is a lot more versatile now. Everything that we've added is pretty much the answer to what Kirby Smart does on defense from a scheme standpoint. So we'll have more people open. It's going to be up to the players to actually hit them, so on and so forth. Now, with all that being said, let's talk about the key players on, and this is actually Georgia's offensive key players. So I'm going to skip y'all down to Georgia's key players on defense. All right. So number 0, Gabe Harris. It's 6'4", 260. He can play with his hand in the dirt as like an edge rusher or as like he's definitely not a two-gapper, but more like what we would call a defensive end or like a stand-up edge rusher. He can play out in space some. He's definitely not the best out in space. So with Georgia's defense, I think they call him the jack or something, right? He can't. I don't know if he's going to be great at playing that, just because he can't do space too well. If he's the guy that Tennessee can put in conflict, right? Like if he's the player that we say, hey, we're going to target you and say you can either play the run or you can play the pass. We're going to make you choose, and we don't think that you're a good enough athlete that you can choose, quick enough to stop what we're doing. I think that he's the guy that you might want to pick on from that standpoint. Pass rush, he has the best pressure rate up to this point at 13%. So, listen, Georgia's defense is very talented on paper, very talented. They're going to play a lot better, I think, today, or at least they're going to probably give more effort or something. But can they hold up versus offensive line? It's a lot better than what they've seen for Tennessee since Coach Heupel's been here. Next player is going to be number 52, Christian Miller. Really good player. Now, he is more of like that two-gap guy. I mean, you want to double team him, but you don't really always have to. I think the guys like Wendell Moore could probably go, like one-on-one with him. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about Sham. Sham might be able to do it. That's something that we'll talk about some more. But, I think that the Sam Pendleton, he could also do it. So he's one of those guys that, we'll have to double him some. I don't think he's going to necessarily be like a game wrecker. I'm hoping that he's not. But he has the talent to actually be able to do that. So there's no stats for him this year, but he is playing defensive tackle, basically. They don't really rack up stats, but his pressure rate is the second best on the team at 9.5%. So next we have linebacker C.J. Allen. So he is second leading tackler on the team up to this point. He's tied for first place with sacks. This is something else. Georgia will bring the sacks from their linebackers. It's not so much about really like their front that you worry about. I guess that it can be sort of a problem just because, you got to hold them up and also pick up the linebackers blitzing. But really, their sacks are generated from their linebackers. They haven't dialed up too many blitzes up to this point. But we know what the blitz packages look like. Can we pick up different stunts and pass things off with the blitzes? If we can do that well, if we can handle that, we'll have the time to be able to operate, y'all. I promise you, we will have the time, not on every single play, but on most of them. So as long as we can just execute, I think Tennessee is going to be fine. But C.J. Allen, he's another one. You want to target him whenever he's playing coverage. I mean, try to get your guys matched up versus the linebackers. Why not? They can't cover. Okay, target them down the field. Doesn't matter what sort of a route it is. It could be underneath, over the top. Doesn't matter. Those guys can't cover the broad side of a barn. And I'm telling you what I know. I'm telling you what I've seen on film for years with some of these guys. So moving on. All right. So Raylan Wilson, he's also, to me, he's probably the better of their linebackers. There's a lot of guys that we don't have listed here, like number 9 coming off of the edge. I think that he's a problem. He doesn't really have any stats really so far this year, but he looks like he is a dude. But Raylan Wilson, he's actually leading the team in tackles with 14. Not going to be great out in pass coverage. Going to go right back to that point. Target the guys down the field in pass coverage. Now we have number 4, KJ Bolden, who also played at Buford High School. I know him well. He's a good football player. I told people last year, I think he's the best secondary guy on their whole team, and he's just a true freshman. Has his coverage skills stepped up this year? Probably so. This is SEC ball, right? I mean, like, you're going to go up against dudes. Can you execute? Can our dudes be better than their dudes on enough plays that we win the football game? Just take care of the football. Go get the football when it's up, it's up. And, I'm telling you, we've got a very nice wide receiver room. It's not super deep, but it is super, super talented. Proud of those guys, proud of the work they put in. And I think that the new wrinkles to our scheme suits them well. We have a quarterback, Joey Aguilar. He's going to give them those chances. He ain't afraid to give them those. He wants to give them those chances. He's trusting those guys. They want to prove they want to say, hey, Joey, thank you for trusting me. Now let me go make a big time play for you. for this team, for these fans, okay, for all of Vol Nation. I'm telling you, that's how they're wired. And they also block very well. So that's another part of this game that we have to watch out for. All right. So let's get back into the chat, man. We will have P hopefully joining us here pretty soon. But I'm going to try to get back to the chat, try to get to as many people as possible. So this one is from John Wells saying that we will maybe create history today. Go Big Orange. Yes, love it. And from 1010 saying, let's go Vols for sure. Yup, you already know. Let's go Vols. Okay, yeah, Vols. y'all are hilarious. All right, so Lex and thank you for that. Yeah, man. So I think that Jared is he's doing a great job. Obviously him playing at Tennessee, different system, but he definitely knows ball for sure. So yeah, I think he's doing a great job. I've been watching his stuff as well. All right, 24-27. I hope that's in favor of Tennessee, Sid. Okay. Gonna be 3-0. Okay, yeah, love that. So John's also saying that we will make history. Okay, there it is. All right, so you came back and fixed it. What's going on, J Pat? What's going on, bro? So man, look, J Pat, always says FUGA, and I absolutely love that. It's something that I'm kind of like running with. Almost put it inside of the thumbnail today. I think that that's very, very fitting every day, but especially today, obviously, because we are playing them. For those of y'all that might be at the game, if you get to interact with the Georgia fans, if it's your first time getting to interact with them in one of these types of settings, you're going to see them. They're going to talk a whole lot. If Tennessee gets up big, once it gets more towards the end of the game, they see, hey, there's no path to victory here. They're going to try, they'll start trying to be a friend. That's just what they do. All right. But yes, feeling really, really good about this. And let me see. I actually got some information coming in, y'all. So bear with me. All right. I had to get to this because this is pertinent. Okay. All right. I got some good information, y'all. I just got some really good intel that I'm not going to share with y'all right off the bat. I'm going to try to wait for P to get on up in here. And once he joins, I think that we might go on ahead and talk about that. So let me get back to this chat. Y'all definitely want to hear that. So this one's from Rhonda. Hey, Rhonda, thank you for joining us. Yeah, you typically join us on like pregame shows and postgame shows, but thank you for that. You already know. GBO. Dirty Higgins. What's going on, bro? Saying I just don't want to win. I want to win convincingly. I think that is definitely possible. All right. So while we are getting all these things kind of squared away, let's move on and let's talk about the matchup between Tennessee's defense versus Georgia's offense. All right. So Georgia's offense is on the left side. Obviously, Tennessee's defense is on the right side. You can see it's very similar to what our offense looked like versus their defense on paper as far as, hey, man, they're winning in most of these categories. Now, Tennessee's actually winning in, 2 of these categories? So third downs, we look better from that standpoint, which, again, if you go back to the actual strength of schedule, why would Georgia be struggling on third down versus Austin Peay and Marshall, right? So they're ranked 52nd in the country. I mean, they might have some problems, y'all. I'm just telling you, they just might. We'll see today. I know that they're probably hiding some things. But with their offense, I don't think so much. Yeah, they were hiding some stuff. But I don't think it's not like, man, like we were super basic all the time. Now, they tried some stuff. It just wasn't working. So we'll see how all that plays out. But let's talk about and actually, let me see. There might be a couple of other things that I want to point out here very, very quickly. I do think that Tennessee's defense has given up too many points this year. Now, in the first game versus Syracuse, we know as Vol fans watching the game up front, which this is another big deal, we were shorthanded, especially with our tackles. Our tackles were gassed. They had, 60-plus snaps. We can't do that. We might have to do it today, but I think that you want to be able to trust those young players and some of the other guys, especially up front. Our big guys, they're used to taking breaks. They need to have more breaks in this game so that they're not gassed down that home stretch. So that might be part of it. There was a lot of young players that we put in towards the end. We knew that we were going to win, but this staff is actually, I feel like, making a much more conscious effort to, get these young guys some real reps. I think that they get that now. We talked about this last year some. We talked about it the year before that too. But that's a huge deal, especially with all these big-time visitors up, right? Show them, hey, if you can play, we want you to play. Like we want to get you out there. We want to be up so big. And I mean, hey, if you're good enough, maybe you can play earlier than that. But I think that's part of it is, there was a lot of things that were happening down that home stretch. But yeah, I mean, Tennessee still needs to tighten up our defense some with just a few things, which it has gotten better. I feel like maybe over the past couple of weeks needs to be really, really good today. So outside of that, Georgia's rushing offense, not too worried about the actual running backs. The jet sweeps, that bothers me some. Can we set a good strong edge, come up and make open field tackles? And then you got Gunnar Stockton's legs. Now, I'm not saying that Tennessee's just, hey, man, Georgia's not they're never going to gain any yards. That's not what I'm saying. They'll get probably a couple of good running plays, but on a consistent basis, it should be, hey, they're not getting too many yards. If we could hold them up under, I'm going to call it 3 yards per carry, we're doing a great job. Great job. And I mean, with their entire running game, we're doing a tremendous job. So that's the game plan, if not even better. Punch at the football. Their running backs have already fumbled twice this year. Nate Frazier, he was fumbling last year. He's been fumbling since high school. I mean, he's a fumble machine. Let's punch at the ball. Let's get it back to our offense. Let's just play like that, right? Like, let's play with the mindset of, hey, defense, let's just think this way. We have to win the game. If you're playing on defense thinking, we have to win this game for us. Offense think the same thing, and it should put together just a beautiful product, which is what I'm feeling like. It's not going to be perfect, but I think we're going to play very, very well today. So outside of that, man, we'll see how Tennessee does like in a red zone situation, just because anytime a quarterback has the threat to run, makes the red zone a little bit more tricky. I'll be interested. Is Tennessee going to spy him more? Can we use guys like Jeremiah Thielander, Edwin Spillman, maybe a little bit less out in space and say, hey, we want y'all on passing plays and plays like this. Just go blitz. Just go hunt. Y'all do what y'all are like the best at. Let the coverage players play more coverage. I would love to see more like Jordan Burns, both of the Jadens, obviously Arion Carter. I want to see them playing in space, and we could use them as spies. We could use our stars as spies or safeties, right? I want to see more cornerback blitzes and just mix it up, right? Like open it up. Coach Banks, I'm telling y'all, man, he is a genius, like from an X's and O's standpoint. Genius. Some of the stuff, I would love to be able to break it down, but I know most people wouldn't understand. I would have to make several videos just so that the concepts could maybe be grasped, but just trust me when I would tell you, he knows what he's doing. He's going to have a really good game plan dialed up. Didn't look the best last year. I don't think that we try to just, hey, man, like, let's get pressure with just 4. I think that Tennessee will try to bring the pressure. So moving on. Turnovers, we kind of touched on that. I think we can go get the football. Now, Gunnar Stockton, more of like a check down specialist. I think he's going to take some shots for sure. He's heard the noise. He's heard the talk. But some old habits do die hard. I'm hoping that that doesn't happen with Joey Aguilar with the interceptions. Probably shouldn't have even said that. But I just feel like Joey Aguilar, him being older, I think I know he's never played in a place like this, but he's playing at home. So I think that he's going to be, just kind of like cool and smooth. I almost want to call him like Joe Smooth. Maybe that could be his new nickname, but we'll see after this game. I've been waiting. I said, you know what? We'll see how he does versus an SEC team before I want to crown a nickname for him, right? But the whole point here is that I think that Gunnar Stockton, he's much more of a, man, I just want to do the right thing. I just want to take care of the football. He's missed so many people up and down the field. And if he checks down, that could be good for us. Again, just tackle well out in space. Okay, so let me get to a couple more things here. So I want to show y'all, if I can find out where that's at. So this is their offense. Okay, yeah. All right, yeah. So this is exactly what I wanted. So this is their key players on offense. We already talked about Gunnar Stockton. His numbers are pretty good. Definitely not great. We actually got somebody coming in. Just let me know once you're good, bro. Hey, give me like a thumbs up if you're good. You good? Mm-hmm. All right. So we got P joining us. P, it's always good to see you. And I definitely want to get your thoughts on this. But first, I had to share a little bit of information because I told everybody that we was going to do that. So P, Drake Quinn, who plays at Buford, he's up on a visit with Tennessee. Sounds like could be a little bit of smoke there. I'll just say it that way. Sounds like there could be some smoke there. So, what are your thoughts, I guess, with that? And then right now we're talking about the key players on Georgia's offense.
Yeah. So Drake Quinn. So what number is he again?
He's number 16.
Oh yeah. Hey, listen, he's a stud, big time edge guy. I mean, he can do it all for you. You know, he would be a big pickup if we could add him. And like you said, if there's smoke, man, there's probably some fire somewhere near that. So will be a huge pickup. And I think, I mean, Neal's going to be rocking. This type of atmosphere you want to have these guys at, just to see, I mean, what it's really like, you know, what Neyland at its peak really is. I think the only thing that could have been even better is if this was Neyland at night. But even 3:30 kickoff, man, this thing's going to be absolutely bonkers. The players are going to love it. But this is, you know, as far as the matchup, man, this is a very talented team. We've talked about that all week, man. They got guys at every position, but like we've talked about, when you watch them on film, there's something that's not quite clicking with these guys yet. Now that could click, you know, it could always click, but for me, man, it's not necessarily a deal where a team can go out here and kind of sandbag, look lethargic, but then just out of nowhere just turn it on. You know, I mean, you got to practice like you play, and I mean, this is a Georgia team that we've known they've started slow. You look at last year, I think week 3 in this spot they played Kentucky, a really bad Kentucky team, and I think it was 13-12. Kentucky should have had them. Kentucky should have had those guys. So I think this is a team, they'll probably get much better coming out of the bye week next week for those guys. But I think that we're catching them at a really, really good time. I think we're playing good team football right now. You know, and everybody's talking about Georgia. They got the chip on their shoulder. You know, they're being doubted, all that stuff. Listen, hey, so are we. Listen, we went out there last year against Ohio State. We ended the season on a really, really bad note. And I think this staff, this team, we took it personal. We've been working all offseason for this specific game, in my opinion. And I expect us to see some new things. I expect to see guys playing maybe a little bit better than we've even seen them play thus far. So I'm excited for the matchup, man. I think it's a really good game. And I think the boys will be ready for sure.
Yeah, I think so too. I'm most definitely looking forward to it. And actually, what I'm doing now, P, is I'm going to try to bring up these stats from last year's game and just to try to draw a couple of correlations. Yeah.
And I'm gonna say, and that's something too. I mean, I've heard a lot of Tennessee fans and a lot of, you know, these national guys talking about we lost the line of scrimmage last year, and maybe to some degree, like we didn't get the pass rush we necessarily wanted. We're talking about this. I think a lot of that had to do with Georgia knowing who we were up front, and there was a lot of quick stuff, 3-step drops, sprint outs, moving the pocket, things to nullify the pass rush. It wasn't necessarily they were just dropping back. Carson Beck's patting the ball in for a guy to throw. He didn't really have time, and especially the run game. You look at guys like Big E, Big O, Omar Norman Lott, Easton. Those guys were freaking dogging those guys up front. I mean, we were winning the line of scrimmage, and I think on the offense side of the ball, Cooper Mays is really the only guy I saw getting beat. But for the most part, we held her on up front on the offense side of the ball too. We ran the ball well. So I think the whole narrative that we got out physicaled, I'm not buying that. We had a really good game plan. And if you remember that game, I mean, we were stifling those guys early in that game defensively. Yep. They got a few kind of plays. Carson Beck made some really good throws, had a couple guys fall down, things like that. But we had a really good game plan by Tim Banks last year. I expect the defense to look really good in this one as well.
Yeah, so and that's exactly where I was going with the P. It's because who was that? Like Reese Davis or somebody's like, oh, well, they've never run the football well on Georgia. Well, why don't you shut up because you don't know what you're talking about? Like, actually look at that. Did you watch the game? Do you know it, dude? We ran for 146. We had 5 sacks. This is taking out the numbers from the sacks, y'all. So we ran for probably over like 180. It was probably close to almost 200 yards on them last year. We can run on them. I think that we should all know that at this point. If you're really just looking at like yards from scrimmage, they weren't really stopping our running game. Like, I mean, maybe some, but over the course of the game, if that starts to wear on you, you just chip away. But P, I also want to talk some about these injuries because that's a big part of it. And I was just waiting on you to get in here for us to start talking about that. But I think that we have to touch on it. So with the injuries, we're waiting on the final deal to come out to see, can Jackson Moy play in this game? David Sanders is probably going to be out. You know, obviously, Jackson Moy, he's listed as doubtful, so he's probably not going to play either. But what sort of an impact does that part of it make, just talking about Tennessee's defense without Jackson Moy?
Yeah, that's a huge loss right there. I mean, we know that's a concern we had as we went through fall camp. We said, listen, man, if a guy or two goes down, I mean, we're in a tough spot defensively. We knew it was a lot of young guys, a lot of unproven guys with little experience behind those top 3, maybe even 4 guys. I think now, man, you're looking at guys like Nathan Robinson. You got to step up and be a dude. Easton, you got to step up, be a dude, which he typically is. And then who's the next guy? I mean, is it Don Bailey? I mean, Don Bailey's probably your second or third guy on the interior. And then once you get past them, you're looking at 2 freshmen, and you're looking at guys that maybe don't quite have the the weight that you would like the guys to have up front. So it can be tricky, but if you go back, you watch the Notre Dame film, right? We've watched that numerous times. I don't know what their sizes were. I know you've broken it down, but I don't think they had, really one guy maybe that was 300 plus. I mean,
yeah, they had one guy. They had one guy who was 316, which is about like Bryson Easton size. The other ones were under 300. I want to say that they were under 290. They were like 288, like 270 something. So yeah, I mean, I think we've got the guys with the same size, and also y'all, I think it might have been just 3 guys that played defensive tackle for them in their game versus Georgia that played the entire game. Like that's part of it too. Is like, how come other guys can do that, but our guys can't do it? I guess it's because that's, we practice and they keep on rotating. But we do need to get them in much better shape too, because there's no reason that we have like 3 very capable, I think, defensive linemen, and we're concerned about the depth there. Because if Notre Dame can do it, we can do it too. We're just used to rotating 6 or 7 guys. But
that's right.
Yeah. Sorry, Pete. Go ahead.
No, yeah, you're good. Yeah, man. I just think we might have to get creative with how we rotate guys. We got Tyree West. He's really probably the only other body. I mean, outside of Don Bailey, Tyree West is probably the only other body that could bump inside. So I mean, I think we'll be fine. We just have to be creative with how we rotate, because we got, a guy like freaking Jordan Ross. Heck, I think he could bump over the strong side DN. And I think he would hold the point. I don't think he's gonna get moved. I mean, he's a dude, man. He needs to play a lot more. So I just think we'll be fine. I saw some good things from Marion Dye as well at strong side last week. He's starting to fire up the ball better. So just be creative. You don't want to have a bunch of little guys on the interior, especially if they're like younger. You know what I mean? Like, you just be smart, Tim Banks, and I think we'll be fine. Because this is still, in my opinion, I know a lot of Georgia fans talking about, hey, we're running the ball so much better. Listen.
Versus who?
Go back and look. Yes, yeah, maybe you put more yards, but that's because you're running. I was looking at through the first 2 games. I think they averaged last year, maybe averaged like 30, 28, maybe 28 carries a game, first 2 games. Clemson and some scrub team. This year, the first 2 games, 2 scrub teams, they're averaging like 40, like 41 or something like that carries a game. They're trying to run the ball more, but they're still not a good running team, in my opinion. So we should be able to limit those guys, I think, in the run game.
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing is that if you actually watch the real operation of it, it looks just like last year. Actually, I would argue that it could be worse in some spots. Their offensive line. So obviously, we're talking about Tennessee's injuries, but on their offensive line, Juan Gaston steps out. I think that they might have Glover, who's another freshman who would be stepping up there. Now, I will tell you, I thought that he looked good. So he played at Langston Hughes, I think, last year. And I mean, he looks good on the high school level, but typically on that level of Georgia football, you can tell how it's going to translate. He's going to end up being good. So is Juan Gaston. But for this year, I mean, I don't see us having real trouble with it. Like, we can actually match up physically and all that type of stuff with him, either beat him with speed. I think that with Glover, you could beat him with power too, right? But anyway, they have some problems there. If Ernest Green playing at right tackle, if he comes out, I mean, they're dropping off of a cliff on the right tackle spot. So I would have to anticipate that we'd be very frustrated and disappointed if we're not getting consistent pressure on that side, right? So that should make you feel good as a Vol. Also, those blitz packages is going to be stepped up. But I did want to make the point, P, that with maybe Jackson Moy not playing today, our linebackers have to step up in run support. How much of an impact is that going to have on Tennessee's passing game, right? Or on Tennessee's pass defense? Because if they're too worried about the box and, worried about the run, are they going down too quick, letting some things maybe open up, maybe deeper or something like that? Like, do you think that that's kind of a possibility, or do you just feel like, man, these guys are ready for this moment, especially Arion Carter, Jeremiah Thielander with, Jeremiah Thielander, this is his 3rd year playing Georgia, from the state of Georgia, can't stand those dogs. I mean, what are you thinking with that whole part of it?
That's a really good point. Something I didn't think about is the impact that's going to have on those linebackers, feeling a little more pressure, a little more urgency to get downhill in the run game. Because, Georgia, whenever they're running their full deal, like look at the playoffs last year and some of the games they had last year, like against us, for example, last year, they do a good job with their play action stuff. I mean, their play action stuff is pretty good, and the backers typically will bite up on that, and that creates those holes behind them and underneath the safety. So that is something they're going to have to really be keen on. I think for me, it still starts with D-line. You got to keep in the run game. you got to keep those linemen off of the backers. Like, they want to work up to those backers. That's something Georgia typically does a really good job of, is getting up to those backers. We got to keep the backers clean so that they can maybe take another half second or whatever, half a step to read if it is play action before they're getting downhill to fill those run lanes. But, we'll see. I know we talked about this off air. I don't think Aaron Carter played his best game last year versus these guys. He was kind of all over the place. So do we see a different Aaron Carter this year against him? He's looked very focused, very locked in so far this year. I think he's going to have a beat on what they do. For us, man, it's just a matter of when we drop into our zone, get a body on a body. Don't just let guys, don't just kind of just drift and let a guy run right behind you into a huge hole. Like, go get to the guy. And something I hate to see is when they run like these little benders and things like that to the inside. It's like we'll go run out to where the guy's breaking his route off at, and then we'll sit there, we'll keep drifting out. Like, he's breaking in, so start to work. Don't go all, start to work back inside, take away that hole that they're looking to, because we know Gunnar Stockton's a one-read guy. So, if we can maybe confuse him a little bit in coverage or just take away his primary reads, he's going to tuck and run. So we just got to tackle at that point. But I think the passing defense should be fine, hopefully. But that's my main concern in this game is the middle of that defense giving up plays.
Yeah, I think everybody's probably worried about that for real, just because it hasn't looked great. But yeah, I mean, you kind of can like scheme around it. I think that the talent has gotten better. Excuse me, we've seen it several times, so we should be fine. But I'm also curious. Go ahead.
I say so. I mean, you still like the game plan of pressuring
Just about to say that.
Or would you rather do a little more drop 8 type stuff?
No. I mean, I want to mix it up, but yeah, like the last thing that I want to do is let them have all freaking day. Let's go freaking hunt on defense. Let's pin our ears back. Let's make it a rock'em sock'em in your face sort of a game. And but just because if you think about it, right, whenever there's a lot of pressure coming and we're showing them different looks pre-snap, bringing pressure from everywhere, and there's a lot of people coming, the offensive line, they have to talk to get their calls right. Okay. The quarterback needs to understand what the heck's going on. Kneeling is going to be loud. It's tough to get that done. So we could force them into, I think, some bad plays from that standpoint if we just keep on bringing the heat, mixing it up, and just throwing off everything that they're seeing. So that's what I want for us to do. Now, if they're killing that, then you have to switch it. But you have to. That will be my starting game plan, P's. I will let them know pretty early on, hey, we coming after you, and get them scared from play number one. And once you do that, you set everything else up off of it. You know what I mean? So that's the way that I would personally do it.
And for me, like, just if I'm drawing up a defense, I mean, like, if I'm blitzing from somewhere, then I know that like where I'm blitzing from, that's where the hole is. So like you almost should have a guy that's coming right into that area. You know what I mean? Like, I know, hey, we're showing blitz. They know that this area is about to be vacated. Safety. Hey, they thought you were over here, but actually you're crashing down and you're gonna get some picks. He's gonna throw it right to you. He's got a big, long, slow windup. You get some picks. So just be creative, Tim Banks. Just be creative and have some fun out here.
Yeah, I think so 100%. And that should be able to offset some of the other things that I think people are worried about, So we'll see. And also, I know some people might be worried about Tennessee's corner. I don't even know if any Tennessee fans are actually worried about our cornerbacks because they've seen them play. They know how good they are. But, it might be some people that don't follow things as closely that might feel that way. Like, oh, well, we're down 2 of our starters, 2 of our veterans at corner. But the guys backing them up are, I mean, I almost want to just say, P, that they're just as good. I mean, because they have been up to this point. Like, if you go through, look at the numbers, they've played very well in coverage. So I don't think that as far as like the scheme where you would want to be able to, hey, we can go one-on-one on outside or, on one side, if that's the case, and then we could run something funky on this other side, which I saw Notre Dame do. Like, I saw them, hey, man, Georgia only has 1 pass-catching threat on this left side. Well, on the right side, we've got a bunch of folks out in coverage. Like, we've got 6 over your 2 or 3 wide receivers, which is crazy. And we trust our guy on that other side to just go one-on-one. I think that we can still do some of that and be perfectly fine. We didn't see it as much last year versus Georgia, but I think that this year, because we trust the linebackers and the other players more, that we could do that as well. So not to go too deep into the weeds with all of that, but the whole point that P and I are both saying is that we feel pretty confident with what the defense can do. Now, what they can do and what they will do, I mean, we can't tell you, but I feel like we've got players that can execute, that understand what the expectations are, and Nealon's going to play a major factor. So I don't want to say that I'm not worried about their offense, because if you look at their we were just going through like their key players on offense. So as we're going down, you got Zachariah Branch, who's listed at 5'10", 180. He's leading the team in like pass catching yardage and all of that type of stuff. 6 catches, 112 yards, 18.7 yards per catch, 1 touchdown. We know that they want to get their playmakers of football out in space, a whole lot of wide screens to their wide outs, and just see, hey, can you come up and tackle? Can you get off blocks? Basic fundamental football stuff. I think that we should be fine from that standpoint. Down the field, yes, he can be a threat, but our guys are so much taller and longer than he is. I think he'll look like he's covered up. So I'm not sure that Gunnar Stockton will even try that as much unless he's totally wide open. We can't be busted on coverages. But then obviously, they got Kobe Young. They got a lot of good wide receivers, big body guys. So Kobe Young, 6'4", 200+ pounds. Noah Thomas, 6'6", 200+ pounds. Both of those guys can definitely run. Who else did they got in here? Oscar Delp, their tight ends has been a problem. And then they've got the running back, Nate Frazier, to have a stable of backs. And I mean, they're pretty much all look about the same to me. But just like their running scheme doesn't scare me too much. I think the Tennessee scheme on defense matches up well versus their running scheme on offense. But what are your thoughts here, Pete?
Yeah, man, they do. They have great personnel, like we said. Something I'm looking out for early. Ty Redmond, obviously being a true freshman, no questions at all about his ability. He's physically can match up with anybody. He's going to come, he's going to tackle, he's going to get off blocks, all that stuff. But similar to, if you remember Boo Carter in the NC State game last year, they gave us that funky look, put Boo in conflict, and kind of took advantage of a true freshman making his second career start or first career, whatever that was for him. So I can see them trying to attack Ty with just kind of a funky look. And heck, if it's something you haven't seen, it's something you haven't seen. Like, you can get kind of taken advantage of in some ways. So it's going to be up to Ty to kind of, just have his head on the swivel, but also Tim Banks. How can you plan for that? Or is there anything that the offense shows you that maybe gives you a beat that this is what they're trying to do? Maybe you can get some help over top or something. So just watch them try to attack Ty with something funky. And then also, man, they've been setting up the daggum screen and go all season.
All season long.
Now we're going to get it. Do we have a plan for it, right? They ran it against, was it Notre Dame? Maybe it was Ole Miss I was watching. And just so happened Notre Dame or whoever it was in cover 2. So, they were all over. Safety was all over that screen and go. So, can we be in the right call? Can we avoid getting taken advantage of? Because, for me, man, I don't see them driving it. I don't see them Gunnar Stockton making, good pass after good pass. The coverage is going to be tight. He's going to make good throws. I think the pass rush will get home, like you said, banged up offensive line for those guys. I think we'll be able to get home, create some pressure. And then, like we keep talking about, Gunnar Stockton's a one-read guy, okay? Like, if you can figure out where does he want to go and take that away, it's pretty much the play's over. He's going to run or he's going to dump it. So, I think we'll be fine on the back end. Like I said, good personnel. But they just, I don't know, man. Their offense just does not wow you. It just does not wow you at all. So, should be fine. Hey, listen, people talking about us getting over 17. Heck, do you see how they get over 17? I don't see how they do it with this offense.
So, hold on, P, because we got a super chat that just came in from 10 Vols, 1080 Fold. Thank you so much, saying, go Vols, go Big Orange. That's huge. Listen, thank y'all so much. Thank you, 10 Vols, and we will play the clip. Thank you. All right, so, but yeah, P, I think that I feel more confident. Well, obviously, just going into it and watching a bunch of film, looking at the scheme, understanding how personnel has changed, how all of that type of stuff. I feel like we can find a lot of success on offense versus their defense. It's going to come down to, hey, man, we feel confident that these guys can win like the individual matchups most of the game. Doesn't mean that they're going to win every single one. Georgia's going to win their fair share too. If we can just win more, that's how you win the game, and then you just take care of the football, all those types of things. So I feel very confident from that standpoint that Tennessee is going to be able to outscore Georgia. But let's talk some about Tennessee's offense, just because, P, I don't think you've had a chance to talk as much. And I'm going to start it off right here saying that Tennessee is a run-first team. I feel very confident in our chances to be able to run the football well versus Georgia. We kind of touched on it earlier, but they run that mid front. So the outside zones, those stretch plays, which Tennessee hasn't run as much versus Georgia just yet, but that's like the kryptonite to that defense. So we ran the football well, pretty much going at what the defense is strong at stopping, which is inside zone. Power obviously can impact how that front looks as well for Georgia, right? Whenever Tennessee's pulling guards and tight ends and all that, just having like lead blockers, that also helps. But we have just like a lot of different things. Pre-snap movement, that also helps you put that jack into conflict. Any of the like overhanging players, put them into a conflict. I just think we'll have the running lanes because the offensive line is so much better than I think it was last year. I think that we will be able to move Georgia's front, and we've got a stable full of running backs. I think that Star Thomas, the more that I'm watching film, you know what I'm saying? It's just like, man, he's really doing a lot of excellent things, but that's not taking anything away from Bishop or Lewis. I mean, we've got guys. I think that we've got the answers just from that standpoint. So I feel like Tennessee can rush for maybe over 200 yards in this game. You know, I'm feeling like that. But what are you thinking from just like the standpoint of Tennessee's running game versus Georgia's defense, Pete?
Yeah, this is another thing you keep hearing these national guys talk about is we haven't been able to do our part in the trenches. Well, guess what? The past 3 years, it's been pretty much the same 5 starting. Okay, those guys, hey, we love those guys, but they had a ceiling. I think now that everybody we have in there, they have a way higher ceiling. They're already better than those guys were. So yeah, I think our O-line is going to have some success moving guys. We pull around very well, very athletic. And I mean, you can hear this Georgia guys talking about this, the best defense they've had since 2021. I'm like, dude, you're crazy. Like, I don't see that. Like, their D-line. Wow. I mean, even number 52, who I've been high on, I don't see anybody. To me, their most impressive interior guy right now is a true freshman, number 90. I think he's number 1 D tackle in the country. He's the most impressive guy, and he ain't no daggone, you know, he's going to be really good, right? Like, I mean, he's like a Jalen Carr-type guy down the line. He ain't that right now. But, I mean, I think we'll be fine on the interior of that defense. I think that number 0, that D end, to me, he's probably the most impressive guy overall that I've seen up front for them. So, you know, we got to be able to move him. Tight ends pulling around. If you're kicking that guy, you got to be physical, you know, try to get him out of there. But, yeah, I'm like you, man, especially with the formations, how we can change things up. The linebackers are going to play a lot slower. Our linemen do a better job of getting up to backers as well. I think we'll have them kind of going misdirection, going the wrong way. I think we'll have some gaping holes. And, yeah, I mean, 200 is my number. I think we should definitely hit that number today, and that opens up everything else on the back end.
Yeah, well, I mean, 1,000,000%. So, yeah, if Georgia, and this is the other thing is that like you have Georgia fans that are saying that because they're, oh, well, you know, we're looking at it on paper and but you haven't played anybody, and you have 2, maybe 3 sacks on the season. Like, even if you're not running your blitzes, you played up against pretty much scrubs. You should be able to get sacks without blitzing those guys consistently. Like, if it was anything like the 2021 or 2022 defense, they're getting sacks, bringing 3, like off the snap of the ball, Jalen Carter. You know what I'm saying? Those guys, they're winning instantly. I don't see anybody who's doing that. Not right now. We'll see what happens today. But yeah, I mean, are they talented? For sure. I'm not saying that they're not. But I mean, this whole thing about, man, it's one of the best defenses that we've ever seen. Like, dog, stop it. Based on what? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to have to prove it to me. So we will see from that standpoint. But yeah, it does. It opens things up for Tennessee's passing game, which is significantly better. We already kind of touched on how Georgia likes to play, the openings in their defensive schemes, how Tennessee can hit on those, and how we've kind of like seen it over the course of this year already. Offensive line pass pro should be better. Now, if I do have one question, Mark P, it would be with Sham playing at left guard. He's the only one that I've looked at, and I was like, I can see some issues there, especially like with different stunts and blitzes or something, or, you know, things like that. I can see him maybe being a little bit of an issue, but not a major one. Okay, I don't think he's going to be a major one. But yeah, I mean, look, man, we have guys on the outside that are absolutely dudes. I think that our run pass option game, once we start to run, like we said, it opens up everything else. They've got to stack the box up more. So on the outside, we've got favorable numbers with wide receivers that can finally make some things happen after the catch. And then tight ends too. Whole lot of gadgetry stuff. So out of the pistol, you fake that stretch player, that outside zone play, boot off of that. The linebackers have to bite up. The tight ends are wide open. The wide receivers are wide open. The run back coming out of the backfield could also be wide open. I mean, it's just obviously things have to go very well for that to happen. But I mean, really, P, on those types of plays, it's pretty much built in. That's why you see the NFL running those same plays all the time, and they always work. Start the game off with some sort of a boot, and there's people open, But I'm saying all those things just to say that I feel confident with Joey being able to manage this football game. And if he's going to throw it up into coverage, just don't throw it up into double coverage. Throw it up into single coverage. And if the wide receiver doesn't come down with it, or if the defense comes down with it, now it's on the wide receiver's fault, or it's on, that's the wide receiver's fault more than likely. But do you have any extra thoughts on our passing game? And then we're going to go ahead and start getting into these picks.
Yeah, man. I think you pretty much hit the nail on the head with how we changed up the splits. It's not the same old offense that Kirby Smart seems to have a beat on. This is a completely different offense. So, if you're playing 2024 Tennessee offense, you probably do got to beat on that. This is a completely different league, which does a lot of things that actually has been proven to give you a hard time. So let's see how you defend it today. But I think it starts off with the offensive line, create movement and run game. Let's be a team that can run at will. If they want to put 5 in the box, we should be demolishing that, okay? And then protect the passer. Give them time to throw because guys are open. Even last year, people talk about Kirby Smart having Heupel's number. Even last year, guys were open. There was a couple of times we didn't have time to get rid of the ball, and then there was a couple of times where Nico he doesn't see the guys open. He's working the wrong guy. Like we have a tight end doing a lot of stuff we saw Ole Miss do, kind of bowing out and then coming back inside. He's open, but Nico's working the daggone comeback on the outside. So I think Joey is going to do a better job of actually knowing where to go and pre-snap, kind of having a better idea what he's looking for. And I think we're gonna have a good day, man. I got us putting up about 30 points.
Hold on. So, hold on, because we're about to get to the picks.
But yeah,
all right. So we're gonna go ahead and start off with these picks, P. All right. So let's go ahead and get into it. The first game is going to be number 18, South Florida versus number 5, Miami. And the game is going to be in beautiful Miami Gardens, North Miami. Know it well, love it. So Miami is favored by 17.5, over under 56.5. P, who do you got in this one?
This is love USF, obviously. Love Coach Golish. I think he's doing a great job with that team. But Miami's a really good team, man. They really are. They're a good team. Carson Beck is playing very well. They got a really good O-line, good D-line. I mean, they're really good everywhere. It's tough for me to see them coming into this spot and getting the win. Talking about South Florida, it's just tough. They're not sneaking up on these guys. They're going to get their full preparation, their full deal. I think Miami's going to be a little bit too much for them, and they're going to win. Now, I'm not like some of these people who think it's going to be a blowout. I think USF will keep it kind of interesting in this because they're a grimy kind of slug it out type team. I think they'll kind of hold Miami a little bit, and Miami probably scores late, and probably ends up being something like 30 to 10 or something like that. But I think it's gonna be a close game in the fourth quarter. But Miami's gonna have too much in them.
All right, so you are picking Miami. All right, so as far as me, man, I really like what Coach Golish is doing. Obviously we got our friend Harp, he's down there, and I think that they got some. I think that they're catching fire right now. There's something magical happening with their season. Obviously, I don't think they're not as talented of a team, but I think that their quarterback, whenever you have a quarterback that's that big, that can throw it, but he can run straight through pretty much anybody. We'll see. I mean, I think that they've got a really, really tall task, but I'm going to go ahead and pick them to win this game.
Wow.
Coming up a little bit later on today. So we're going to go on to this next one. All right. And this is Texas A&M versus Notre Dame. The game starts at 7:30. It's in Notre Dame, Indiana. I don't know if they moved their stadium to a different place or if it's now called Notre Dame because it used to be called South Bend. But either way, Notre Dame's favored by 6.5. The over-under is 49.5. P, who do you got?
This is a tough one for me to call. I think this will go either way. I tend to lean Notre Dame in this one just because obviously they lost week 1. I think they want to bounce back. They've had a long time to prepare for this one. I think they had a bye week last week, so they've had a long time to prepare. And I think Marcus Sherman's a really good coach. I think they'll be prepared. They'll be ready. And I think they're going to limit anything that Texas A&M tries to do offensively. Because who they play week 1? Was it Miami they played week 1? I can't remember.
Notre Dame,
played.
yeah.
Notre Dame, yeah. So, and I think that was the game Notre Dame didn't even play very well, and they were right there in that game the whole time. I think it's still a really good Notre Dame team. So I got them winning this one probably in a more of a defensive type battle. I just don't think A&M will be able to score that many points.
Yeah. So whenever I'm looking at, I haven't watched a ton of, I haven't watched a ton of the Aggies this year. But I know that Marcus Freeman is a good coach. And it's crazy because, they only had like 90 passing yards versus Georgia in that game that they beat them last year. So he just finds ways to win. And I think that he's going to do the same thing again versus A&M. So I've got Notre Dame pulling that one out. All right, so the next one, man, Florida at LSU, number 3 LSU. I think that they're overrated. I can tell you all that right now. Florida is unranked, but the game starts at 7:30. It is in Death Valley, in the real Death Valley, and LSU's favored by 7.5 points. The over-under is 46.5. P, who do you got?
It's a tough spot for Florida heading into the real Death Valley at night, and this is an LSU team, like you said, number 3 team in the country. The fans are fully invested in that team right now. I think it's going to be a raucous environment. We'll see, because honestly, quiet's kept. Sometimes those raucous environments, that brings out the best in players. So maybe Florida, maybe DJ Lagway and that bunch, they kind of feed off the energy, being the kind of the bad guys in town or whatever, and maybe that gets them going. But just Florida, they just haven't looked really good so far this season. Even going back to the week 1 matchup against wherever it was, Southern Illinois, whatever. They won like 50-0, but it didn't look good. Lagway did not look good in that game. He didn't look good in the last game. So I think they have real issues offensively. I think Lagway's having some issues right now. I don't like LSU, right? Like I don't think they're very good. I don't think they're one of the best teams in the country, but I think they'll do enough to win this one. Just because I think Florida's going to have a hard time scoring points.
Okay, yeah. I'm about on the same page with you. And then I'm what's that guy's name that's on SEC Network? Chris Doring, dude. It's hard for me to even cheer for Florida versus Georgia because of him. Like, I'm just so sick of his just overly biased stuff. Like, dog, you're a national analyst. You can't be that biased. You're such a freaking homer. Your team sucks. And I hope that they lose every game for the rest of the year and only beat Georgia. That's how I feel about Florida. So, I honestly speaking, I kind of feel like Florida's going to end up winning, but I'm going to pick LSU either way just because that's who I want to win this game. And I don't like Brian Kelly at all. I think that he's a fraud, but I just can't stand Florida's arrogance. So now it's time for the big show, P. Obviously, our Tennessee Volunteers hosting Georgia, who's number 6. We're ranked number 15. Hosting them up in Neyland. It's going to be rocking. The crowd will play a major factor in this game. We've broken it down as many ways as we possibly could, but the game starts at 3:30, and Georgia is favored by 3.5 points. That line dwindled down significantly. Does Vegas know something? I think that they just might. But the over-under is 50.5. So, P, tell me why Tennessee wins. Do you have us are you going to take the over or the under in this game as well?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is one, man. I told you about this too. Like, usually the week we play Georgia, like I feel pretty confident the entire week. I feel very confident. And then we'll go out there, we end up blowing it. This has been the first time I can remember in a long time where I was really confident to start the week, and then kind of as the week went on, I got a little less confident. But then, I watched more film and got into the film a little more. Now I feel just confident as I did to start the week, man. I just think that this is a really good spot for Tennessee to be in. We're getting these guys at home. We're getting them early, which they're notoriously slow starters to the season. They haven't looked great all season. I don't know if you can call them a one-dimensional team because they don't run the ball necessarily either. So, I just don't see them offensively unless Gunnar Stockton comes out here and just plays outside of his mind, which, hey, teams tend to do that against us, somehow. Teams have their best game against us. I just don't see Gunnar Stockton consistently fitting the ball in the tight coverages, consistently making the right reads, and consistently making the right play to keep his team in this game. And then I just don't think they're going to be run the ball. I know that we have some guys out up front, but I think we'll be creative with how we rotate and with how we scheme and stunt and things like that. I think they're going to be limited in the run game. They're going to have to lean on Gunnar to keep him in the game, because I think offensively we're going to come out and put up points. And it may not be a super fast start. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. But I think we're going to score a lot of points. I got Tennessee winning this thing. I got us putting up about 31 points. I'm thinking like 31-20, something like that. And so, yeah, I guess I'm taking the over on that, 51 points.
Okay. Yeah, man, look, I absolutely love that. Yeah, I have a lot of confidence. I wouldn't even say that I went up and down too much, P, and I don't think that you did either. But obviously, as we're going, deeper into the week, you hear about, well, this player might not go. So Jackson Moy probably not going. David Sanders, we haven't seen him so far this whole year. Probably, would have been nice to have him back, but he's not going. But pretty much outside of that, we have the guys that I think that we need to be able to win this football game. I think that we're going to find a way to win. I think that being up in Knoxville, having the crowd there, people really, ending the year with such a bad taste in our mouth, we know that we don't want to put on a poor showing. I think that we can beat their offensive tackles with our edge rushers. I'm looking forward to that. I don't think that our offensive line, from a pass protection standpoint, is nearly what it used to be. It's not what it was last year, but also adding in with those blitzes. I mean, I just think that Gunnar Stockton running for his life, once he gets to the point where, hey, every time that I see or feel a little bit of pressure, I'm automatically running it, then we got him right where we want him at, because we're going to start to tee off on his behind. And, I think that Tennessee's offense is going to put up points. I think that we're going to have a beautiful showing. I think that obviously the games always start off kind of tight, right? Once it settles into a game, I think that Tennessee is the better team. Not the more talented team, but I think that we are the better team at this point. So, of course, I'm going to have my Tennessee Volunteers winning this ball game, and I'm going to definitely take the over. I have us winning this one 37-17. So, go Big Orange, and we will be talking to y'all once the game ends. So, we're going to have a live stream for that as well. And I think it's just going to be a big-time celebration. So thank y'all so much for tuning in. Y'all, please make sure to like and subscribe. And we'll be talking to y'all here in just a few hours. Go Vols. Peace. Thanks for watching. And please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, because that keeps us growing inside of the YouTube algorithm. And if you did like this video, here's another one that you might also enjoy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Peace.